Hello folks, and welcome to the Quick Coaching Tip. I am Shawn Meredith, and this week I want to talk about a concept that comes up a lot around empathy. What is empathy? How do we use it? And particularly I want to talk about empathy versus sympathy. Now, empathy has become a very vogue topic. Because of that, we're hearing this word pop up a lot. We're also hearing a lot of defining of it and ways of trying to implement it. And at times like that, the words, definitions can drift. You get a lot of interpretations. So here's mine. Now, what I say about things like that is I wouldn't cling too much to the words. I would think about the concepts. So I want to talk about some concepts around empathy that I often have to work with my coaching clients around. So empathy versus sympathy is the topic of today. That empathy, in my mind, is when we are intellectually connecting to someone else's emotional state. So intellectually, from our frontal lobe, we can understand their limbic system, the emotional state they're in. And we can plan, strategize, act from that place. And you'll find that what you can do is really be helpful for folks. You can really be a helper or a guide or a lifeline to people when you're able to empathize. You're able to act from where they are at, which is really hard to do. That often the alignment issues are because we're acting from where we are at, not where they are at. Now, sympathy, on the other hand, which I often run into, is when we take on the emotional state of the other. We sympathize, sympathetic motion, like in physics. Sympathetic motion is when two things are moving in sympathy to each other. So we are connecting to their limbic system with our limbic system, and we're taking on the same emotional state. Little bit of a fine difference there, but phenomenologically, experientially, a huge difference. So what I see happens is that when folks are practicing positive psychology or empathy or these things, if they aren't careful and they start sympathizing, it takes you out of a leadership role. It takes you out of a helper role. If I am on fire, I don't want someone to come up next to me and light themselves on fire, and they're sympathizing, and then we're both on fire. So folks who can stay in that empathy stance where they're staying in that frontal lobe of the thinking brain, they can understand my predicament, but they can be a help or an advisor or a leader to lead me out of that. Now, concrete example of this, in coaching, I get folks who need to take a strong position on a direct report. They need to give some negative feedback. So they start to empathize. They then fall into sympathizing. So as they're sympathizing, they are simply feeling the pain of this individual, feeling the pain of underperforming, feeling the pain of maybe being let go or being laid off. And when you're in that pain, you can't work strategically as a leader because you're just focusing on, ooh, ah, ouch, pain, go away. So what we need to do is we need to stay in that space of empathy, and we can think strategically. So in those situations, often these individuals, they're in a larger context. There's something going on that they need to know about. And we can actually underserve them if we aren't being candid and clear with them about what's happening in their day or in their context or their situation or where they aren't meeting expectations. So think about this. Please share this, comment. I like to get some interaction here, so feel free to do so. And as you go through the weekend and the next week, really pay attention to, are you empathizing or sympathizing? And I won't get into it today, but there's kind of a first step of, am I even engaging the emotional space? But if we're engaging it, are we empathizing or sympathizing? Thanks so much. That's the tip of the week, and see you next week.